Hi. So in the last 2 months, 4 hurricanes have reached Category 3 or higher. I'm sure many of you in here have seen the headlines. Hurricane Harvey destroyed 185,000 homes. Hurricane Irma wiped out a quarter of all buildings in Florida. And Hurricane Maria left Puerto Rico with 450 people presumed dead or missing. And as of right now, 90% of the island is without power. 35% don't have clean water to drink or bathe in. And all those wondering why the 2017 hurricane season has been so unusually active, so unusually catastrophic, scientists at MIT released a study attributing it to rising global temperatures. Now, since the Industrial Revolution, these emissions that have caused rising global temperatures have risen them by 1 degree Celsius. This is a seemingly harmless number that in 2 months left 185,000 families without homes. A seemingly harmless number left almost a quarter of Florida without building infrastructure and sent almost an entire island back to the Stone Age. And as the seemingly harmless number continues to climb, it is projected to elevate sea levels enough to put 200 million people underwater. It's about the population of Brazil. These people are expected to become climate refugees and migrate inland to neighboring countries in search of food, water, and shelter. These predictions aren't matters of if, they're matters of when. On a global threat analysis made by the United States military, a report that encompassed everything from North Korea's nuclear program to China's cyber attacks, climate change was listed as the #1 uncontestable threat to global security and stability. And while these facts are thoroughly examined, scientifically proven by the global community, I doubt many people in this room had prior knowledge of them, which begs some questions. What is the media doing to spread awareness? What is the government doing to promote renewable energy? And what policies are state politicians enacting in order to combat climate change? Well, the answer may be a little disappointing. In the 8 days following Hurricane Harvey making landfall, a study found that out of the 2,000 times hurricanes were mentioned on major news outlets, climate change was only mentioned as a cause of these hurricanes 6% of the time, some of which only to promote climate skeptics and deniers. In 2016, President Donald Trump abandoned the Paris Accord, the largest global initiative to curb CO2 emissions in human history. And in 2017, Congress is now set to repeal the Clean Power Plan, the EPA's current goal of decreasing coal and natural gas productions by 33%. But honestly, I don't blame politicians or lawmakers or media outlets for our current situation. I blame my parents. Well, not actually. More so the generations upon generations of American citizens that have ignored climate science. The Pew Research Center conducted a study on current US voters and asked them to rank the top issues facing our nation. On average, climate change ranked 16th out of 16 issues on that list. And when not given a bank to choose from, voters only answered the environment 2% of the time. And not a single person listed global warming as a threat. How can we expect politicians or government officials or media outlets to be inciting change when their actions are simply reflective of our own priorities? We can't. It's not their responsibility. It's ours. And now I'm sure many of you are ready to go out and make a difference, but when searching for solutions, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, too small to make an impact on a global scale. So in moving forward, there are 3 key things I want you to remember. The first is that environmentalism is dead. Now, environmentalist policies are centered around the idea that we should be limiting human energy consumption. Makes sense, right? Curb CO2 emissions to stop temperatures from rising. However, these policies ignore obvious social factors. There are 7.6 billion people on this planet, And in developing countries like China and India, their population and energy demands are expected to double in the next 20 years. And since they're expected to double in the next 20 years, we cannot be expected to deny them energy resources, deny millions of people electricity, cars, building infrastructure. It's not realistic. It's not right. So instead of treating climate change like an issue that necessitates limitations, let's view it as an opportunity for expansion. Let's invest in green infrastructure to build the cities of the future. Let's invest in renewable energy to power those cities. Create jobs through expanding green tech companies. Stop blaming growing populations or increases in energy demands as causes of climate change. Let's use them as ways to make positive social impact. And that brings me to my second point, that it's really not enough to drive a hybrid or to change your light bulb. We have to change the laws. There's not a citizen in the United States that will not be affected by climate change, so there should not be a citizen in the United States that can just sit this one out. Playing an active part in the democratic process is essential in building a sustainable future. So get people to petition, to protest, to vote for legislators and government officials off of their views regarding climate change. And then to be vocal about it. Climate change is pervasive, it's dangerous. And to brush it off as something that can be solved by taking shorter showers will only serve to endanger the lives and livelihoods of millions. And that brings me to my last point. We can never lose hope. We must remain optimistic, resilient. Humans have faced challenge throughout history. And time and time again, we have overcome these great challenges. So learn to see climate change as an opportunity. Of generations and generations of Americans, how many could say they face a challenge so worthy? A challenge that has the potential to bring out the best of mankind. At the dawn of an age of reform, the generation in this room, students, future voters, and leaders of America are at the heart of finding solutions. It won't be easy. It won't always go the way you planned. In fact, at times, the fight against climate change will be devastating. But I urge you to go on, to make a difference, because we are the generation that has to. Because by the next generation, it might be too late. Thank you.